with President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud to develop closer relations between the two countries and to unite for peace and brotherhood of both countries.
As you embark on your new responsibilities, President Museveni wishes to assure you and the people of Somalia of the continued friendship and sympathetic interests of the Ugandan government and the people.
In his inauguration speech, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud re-echoed his slogan, Somalia at peace with itself and the world. He promised true, wide reconciliation among Somalis, cooperation with the international community on security, democratic system that allows a universal right to vote, fair and independent judiciary, and appealed for support in response to drought to avoid famine, among others.
Soomaaliyed meel kasto ay joogaan isla markaana saldhig u ah himilooyinka iyo tiigsiyada shacabkeena sharafta leh ay tiigsanayaan ama ku hadlinayaan in ay ahaadaan dal dimuqraadiyaddu ay ka hirgashay.
Uganda's Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Vincent Sempija, stated that Uganda's defense sector is very proud that the people of Somalia and the federal government of Somalia have been able to have a peaceful transition.
The peaceful transfer of power from one leader, Mr. Famajo, to the new president, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, is really a testimony that we have not wasted our time in this place.
Uganda's Deputy Ambassador to Somalia, Ambassador Major General retired Nathan Mugisha, stated that the inauguration of Hassan Sheikh Mohamud is a sign of hope and a vote of confidence.
A new team assigned with a new mandate. So that is a very good step as far as democracy is concerned.
PDF, which is part of ATMIS, it is a stabilization force. We play support role. We came here in 2007 when things were really very bad. Somalia was stateless, as you know.
Right, Honorable Amama Mbabazi, the Presidential Special Envoy, led Uganda's delegation to the inauguration ceremony of President Sheikh Hassan Mohamud. President Sheikh Hassan Mohamud was elected into office on May 2022. Uganda was the first country to deploy troops to Somalia in March 2007 and remains the leading troop contributing country to AMISOM, now transformed into African Transition Mission Somalia.
Now, in an unfortunate turn of events, more than 6 people have died on spot a few minutes ago, or rather almost an hour ago, when a commuter taxi registration number UAW 9877 was involved in a fatal accident at Subway along Nile Avenue, adjacent to the UBC premises. The cause of the accident is not yet known and is to be established soon through the police. Witnesses, especially border cyclists, rushed to the scene to rescue some of the occupants. Police is currently at the scene to review those still stuck in the wreckage. A developing story we'll be updating you on. In other news, Uganda's economy has been able to withstand economic shortfalls despite experiencing COVID-19 outbreak, locusts, rising waters and the floating islands, landslides and terrorism attacks. Now, as the budget day nears for the presentation, 48 trillion has been set aside to propel next financial year operations. Sandra Kahunde has a report.
The budget plays two roles. It's both an economic and a political tool. When we see these budgets, especially post-COVID, they are more meant to ensure that household income is achieved. They are meant to ensure that we begin to we reduce households that live in poverty, which they have been reducing since 1990. It is meant to ensure that households are living in the formal sector.
As Ugandans look out for the budget reading next week on June 14th, 2022, economists say Uganda's GDP per capita now standing at $1,046. President Yoweri Museveni, during his Tuesday State of the Nation address, said that the entrance point for the lower middle income status is at $1,036, and Uganda has now already passed that figure.
We find that actually the middle income status is supposed to be $1,036, but now Uganda is already $1,046. We have even already surpassed the baseline, the beginning of the middle income status, by $10. The importance of the middle income status is an indicator of economies getting out of poverty. That's what it is. It is an indicator of total economy getting out of poverty. Second, it is an indicator of showing that you are moving out towards less developed countries to developing countries.
The president emphasized that Uganda's economy expanded in spite of the lockdowns caused by COVID-19 and the ever-increasing population. President Museveni also said that the country has arrived at the boundary point as far as the middle income status is concerned.
Our economy has expanded. That is very important. A figure more than 45, I think 44.7 and above, and it is continuing, 45.7 trillion, and also mentioning that our target of the middle income, he said we entered the middle income without, we have been, making noise, but we have found when we have already entered the middle income status, already entered the middle income status using the UN approach. Using the UN approach, we already entered the middle income status. Looking at the infant mortality, mortalities when our mothers are delivering, schooling, and all other health indicators and other factors, including food security, household income, food sustainability, and other factors. I already said it that we already had entered the middle income status. Actually, even before we went to the elections, these elections of this new term.
Before the global destabilization by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Ukrainian crisis, Uganda was a country of surpluses that were crying out for markets for certain products.
This economy, all factors remaining equal and we don't get such a pandemic, we'll recover in 3 and 5 years, we'll surpass where we were before COVID. And I said any economy uninterrupted by security challenges and the pandemic, which has already reached where Uganda has reached, in the next 10 to 15 years can become an advanced country, subject to doing the following things. 1, reducing the informal sector. 2, and therefore also reducing subsistence, getting many people out of the subsistence system, and you commercialize agriculture. The parish development model is going to do that. Ministry of Local Government has launched the widened LED, which is local economic development, to support, again, alongside the parish development model. So what you are seeing is that, again, if market access is ensured, continued market access of quality products, if we export, hear this, if we are exporting 25 to 30% of manufactured exports.
the implementation of the parish development model, whose end result is to tap the production capacity of all the 7 million houses in agriculture, relying on the 7 high-value commodities of coffee, fruits, dairy products, poultry, pigs, fish farming, and food growing for those of 4 acres, and less is one of those good strategies for Uganda to sustain as a middle-income country.
This economy will be advanced. And that effort is there because the government and the president came out and said, import substitution, export promotion. And for access to markets are ensured by security, but roads and other forms of transport. Uganda is exporting more than 50% within the region of EAC and COMESA. And we can also go to the African Continental Free Trade Area and expand there. And then what is important is continuous improvement in innovation and science and technology. This must be done, and good leadership.
For the 2022 financial year, the World Bank placed 80 countries in the high-income category. Many of these countries, such as United States, have consistently ranked in this category since the 1980s. Sandra Kahunde, UBC News.
Now, relatedly, government projects per capita income to grow to $1,049 this financial year, 2022-23, to $1,198 in financial year 2024-25. Now, this will consequentially graduate Uganda into the lower middle-income country if maintained for 3 years. However, where does this leave Uganda's agricultural sector and the key stakeholders that contribute to its value chain? This coming financial year, 2022-23, Uganda's agricultural sector has been allocated 1.26 trillion shillings dedicated to agro-industrialization. However, the question is, are the systems to enable great yield from this investment in place?
At the household level, and that is where the focus of government is now, we have to support the processes of production. And our production is in agriculture. The land is there, small size, big size, so we can do intensive farming. We can also do extensive farming. We just need the logistics to support.
On the other hand, a lack of implementation of standards is challenging the sector's development from yielding its potential. A good example is in the grain sector.
According to the Uganda Grain Council, 85% of the grain that leaves Uganda into Kenya is through the informal sector, which means it's actually unprocessed. I know that because I'm from Tororo. Now the Kenyans are actually coming and buying gardens. He parks the truck there, he paid for his garden that he planted, and they load the corn right from the field onto the truck and leaves and goes into Kenya. What are the implications? It means standardization and quality issues are going to be major. Aflatoxin, when it comes, you can't really deny it isn't there.
The head of state, however, reiterates that this is not a complex challenge.
We just need to deal with a few quality and biohazard issues. The issue of aflatoxins will be dealt with by the proper harvest and drying methods, as well as the method of embracing the biotechnology.
Similarly, the dairy sector is facing an uphill challenge with more efficiency needed in the export of milk since hitting 2.8 billion litres in 2022.
The door to our dairy exports will be opened when we, the cattle owners, vaccinate our cattle twice a year. If the government does not have the money to pay for the vaccines, we, the farmers, can do it. I am a farmer. I am one of the farmers, as you know. With 1,000 cattle, I would need Uganda shillings 15 million in a year for foot and mouth disease. With 1,000 cows, What is 15 million? I can pay this.
To this extent, the East African community also presents immense opportunities to boost Uganda's agricultural sector earnings. The potential for business in the East African community is immense now that new member states bring new opportunities onto the table. However, much needs to be done in terms of standardization.
Recently we had the occasion to discuss that particular issue because the Kenyans have entered certain agreements with other blocks on their own. And then when looked at it, they actually different from us because they're already in the middle income. We others are still falling. So we have to work to bring each other up to the same level. The government of Uganda's agro-industrialization program budget has increased from 1 trillion to 1.269 trillion. Wadulo Makanold, UBC News in Kampala. Now, the 12th East African Community Armed Forces Field Training Exercise, codenamed Ushirikiano Imara 2022, has been concluded at Junior Command and Staff College, Jinja. The closing ceremony was graced by the First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East Africa Affairs, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, who represented the President.
The regional military training exercise, codenamed Ushirikiano Imara, has been concluded at Junior Command Staff College, Jinja. The armed forces of Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan and Tanzania joined the hosts Uganda People Defense Forces UPDF for 14 days and conducted civic and military exercise in Busoga sub-region.
This exercise has armed forces and civilian security.
A total of 1,533 participants of the armed forces, police and civilian components took part in different activities. The exercise director, Major General Don Nabasa, said they achieved the mission and objective of the exercise.
Successfully achieved the above-mentioned objective. Alongside the said objectives, we have also undertaken some civil military cooperation projects as a way of giving back to the community. And these include construction of a 2-classroom block at Usube Primary School in Jinja District.
Major General Leopold Chanda, the Joint Chief of Staff, who represented the Chief of Defense Forces, said the exercise meant to train participants in conduct of peace, security and support operations.
We need to continue working together to combat security challenges of armed groups and terrorists, proliferation of small arms, transnational crime like cattle rustling, piracy, famine, and others facing the region. Therefore, the knowledge and skills acquired from this joint training will go a long way to help us come up with appropriate solutions.
Translate into threats to the socio-economic, cultural and political well-being of the people of East Africa. These threats range from natural to man-made disaster, poverty and disease, porous borders, proliferation of small arms and light weapons. And these dangers are, of course, to human life and development cannot be underestimated.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the East African community member states for their contribution and participation in this year's exercise.
The guest of honor, First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, who represented President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, commended the participants for the integration.
I believe the military training you have received will enhance your capacity to effectively cope with the rapidly changing technology and response to global and regional security threats.
Kadaga thanked President Museveni for the visionary efforts of the East African community.
As a combined force, we will continue with the same spirit in joint training exercise for peace support operations to the global and transnational security threats. As you are aware, the UPDF has built on the spirit of nationalism. It has been at the forefront of national restoration. The NRA solved 4 problems for Uganda. Uganda has been proud to host you, and we look forward to hosting you again. And I now have the pleasure to declare the EAC's Armed Forces Field Training Exercise closed. Thank you very much for God and my country.
In attendance were defense ministers, CDFs, representatives of the armed forces, East Africa community members of parliament, ambassadors, defense liaison officers, and other dignitaries. Haruna Mutesasira reporting for UBC News in Jinja.
Now, government has fulfilled its pledge towards the development of Namugongo Muslim Matters project. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni made a pledge of 100 million shillings toward the development of this project. While attending Juma prayers earlier this Friday, the third Deputy Prime Minister and Minister without portfolio, Lukia Isanga Nakadama, handed over initial 50 million shillings to the Muslim clerics at the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council. Fulfillment of the pledge comes at a time when the organizing committee for the development of the Namugongo Muslim Matters project has just finalized on a budget worth 7 billion to construct a mosque at the site.
President, 50 million. I've delivered to them, and they are going to continue with that facility. President of the Republic of Uganda, who pledged to support the facility behind here, the trade facility on this mosque, with 100 million, and I've come here to give the balance of that money, which is 50 million. I've delivered to them, and they are going to continue with that facility to see that it is completed. Secondly, we want to see that this project of the Muslim Matters is also considered, because initially nobody was considering this facility, yet it is one of the historical sites of the matters in Uganda. The Muslims were the first people to be killed because of their faith, and now we know that in Namugongo Matters, the Catholics, the Protestants were being considered, but the Muslims had not been considered because of the history that had not been revealed before. So it is the reason why we are here, and this is an issue that is going to be taken to Cabinet so that they are also considered in the next financial year, to see that we can start on our plan, the plan that has been laid out by these people. And the Ministry of Tourism is the implementing agency, so we have to deliver all this information to them.
Therefore, we as Uganda Muslim Supreme Council had put a committee, construction committee, to the project of the Muslim Matters, which is headed by the Professor Badiru Katerega and others from this area. We thank them for the efforts they have so far done, and we pledge to continue to support them until this project is realized.
Organizers of the Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba Chiruhura Rushere Sports Gala have confirmed that the event is still on as planned earlier. And come next Tuesday, the 14th of June, all roads will be heading to Chiruhura district. According to Jotham Taremwa, the head publicity organizing committee, despite calls for postponement of the event by a section of members of parliament, consensus has been reached to have the event on that day.
The thing is too wide.
On Wednesday this week, Team Chairman Michael Kaguta alias Toyota convened a meeting of members of parliament from Western Uganda ahead of the MK Sports Gala due in the area.
This time when we were trying to change the function from fifth, it costed us as leaders.
With the national budget reading scheduled for next week on Tuesday, 14th June 2022, majority of members of parliament had proposed the postponement of the Chiruhura Rushere Sports Gala, which is programmed on the same date.
Another excellence that is coming tomorrow is the other side. It will be a big blow.
This having aired on our different media platforms, it has received mixed reactions.
What was running on UBC last night was a shock to us, but unfortunately, it was a report or an opinion of what somebody gathered in one of the meetings. Or people were not even concerned with our district. These are Mbarara people, they were planning for the Mbarara people, and they gave their opinion on what they thought about 14th. but I want to assure you that it is not tantamount to stopping or postponing or changing our date. I want to assure you and everybody that our function will continue, and we are going ahead with preparations, and we are ready. No postponement. Our chief guest is coming.
It has now been stated loud and clear that the event is on.
We had planned to have this event on the 22nd of May. Then it was changed to the 5th of May. Then it was confirmed for the 14th. So when you keep changing and people lose hope and lose morale. And we all looked at that, including our leaders, the members of parliament, and acknowledged that a further change would affect our preparations, would affect the morale on the ground, because people are eagerly waiting to join General MK on that day as they celebrate his homecoming.
According to Jotham Taremwa, publicity secretary for the Kiruhura MK event, this is a decision arrived at after wide consultations.
The president is the fountain of honor. Okay, and the national budget reading is a very important event for the country. When we sat with our members of parliament and discussed, we agreed that it was important that they attend that function first. Then after the function, they can join us. So there is nothing like undermining. No. We love our president. We support our president. And we agreed that it is important for them, because some of us are not invited for the event. But
according to this team, the chief guest, who happens to be Commander Land Forces UPDF, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, having confirmed his participation, there could be no other alternative other than effecting their program.
When he communicated, General MK communicated, he gave us the 14th of this month. Thereafter, we got information from our members of parliament that 14th of the same month is going to be the budget reading, and they would love to attend the budget reading as well as participate in the event that we have organized, the tournament.
Many members of parliament had proposed the postponement of the event to allow them be part of the budget proceedings, since the two events would collide. The MK Sports Gala will see 10 districts including Isingiro, Lyantonde, Kazo and Imbara among others showcase their capabilities through football and other games. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Now, the family of Uganda's former president, Yusuf Chironde Lule, wants national heroes to be celebrated while they are still alive. A gesture they appreciate the current government for doing. Dr. Ntwatwa Lule, a dental surgeon, appreciates government for recognizing his late father with a full road named after him in Kampala, capital city. Both Ntwatwa and his sister, Nora Lule, were part of the celebrations to mark National Heroes Day this Thursday.
This is Yusuf Lule Road, one of the stretches that make up the road infrastructure in Kampala city. It was named after former president of Uganda, Yusuf Chironde Lule. The former head of state is graciously remembered in Uganda, something his family appreciates.
It's always nice to be remembered, and I'm sure my late father is happy where he is, being remembered.
However, they want this kind of recognition done, at least when the beneficiaries are still alive.
The government of Uganda today has shown that by actually giving out medals to quite a number of people. So definitely they have been appreciated, and I'm sure they are enjoying it.
Dr. Ntwatwa Lule, who was in company of his sister, downplayed any political ambitions, preferring to cling onto his profession.
I think there are enough people who are in politics. The country isn't run by politics alone. There are other things that run the country as well.
Obviously, being a daughter of a former president, however short it was, I'm very aware, and I've had close view of what it involves. Very big. It's not something that I've even considered getting that big, but I would definitely like to participate in our country.
The duo was part of celebrations to mark National Heroes Day. They joined others in laying wreaths on the fallen heroes.
It's great for us as a family to be able to celebrate our father and for us to get recognition on his behalf. That's why, we took out the time to come and spend time here. And it's also very nice to see that a lot of other people come and face recognition as well as heroes.
Now back in the country for good, joins her brother Dr. Ntwatwa, ending decades of living apart from each other. Henry Okrut, UBC.
The Uganda Chapter Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative has released its maiden report findings in Uganda's oil and mineral resources sector, with a recommendation to government to be more transparent and publish all mineral and oil contracts so that they are made known to the public. The report is the first of its kind ever since Uganda was admitted to the global Oslo Best Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative in August 2020 as the 54th member of state.
In January 2019, Cabinet took a decision for Uganda to join the Oslo-based Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, a global standards body for good governance of oil, gas and mineral resources. After Uganda's admission to the global body in August 2020 as its 54th member state, the Uganda chapter secretariat of the same initiative has today released its maiden findings and recommendations for the sector at Kampala Sheraton Hotel. The report, among others, highlights a contribution of $436.3 million as a tax revenue from the sector collected by Uganda Revenue Authority, with a GDP contribution of 1.6%, registering a decline from 1.72% in the previous financial year. The report further calls upon government to make public disclosures regarding the contracts and licenses for people engaged in the sector, as well as calling for the centralized data system regarding the exports of mineral in future.
So this report is to adhere to the EITI standard, of which Uganda is now a member of the EITI International Organization. And so as a member, it is a requirement to produce an annual report that describes the progress in the extractive sector.
Presiding over the event, State Minister for Minerals Peter Lokeris said the report is timely and that government will go by its findings and recommendations since Uganda is already a signatory to the global body.
Then we shall be assessed now, tomorrow, using those pillars. This one we did well, this one well, and now we have just grown.
Philippe Grotti, Total Energies Uganda boss, John Bosco Bucha of Uganda Association of Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners, and Winfred Ngabirwe, Global Rights Alert, commented on the report findings.
A very important step today with the launch of this first report to EITI. It is the result of a joint effort between private sector, between government and civil society.
Much as we appreciate government recognition, but also request government not only to stop on paperwork recognition through the law, the enactment of the laws, through the usual talks about artisanals and small-scale miners, but we request government to come up with a program that will support the participation of Uganda.
So most importantly, that we are not under-declaring our production, because if we are under-declaring our production, that impacts on the revenues that we are able to get.
The report mainly concentrated on mineral resources since Uganda is set to see its first refined oil on the market in 2025, according to Minister Lokeris. Story compiled by Edward Collins Juko for UBC News.
And with that, let's take a short commercial break. We'll be back right after these messages. Stay tuned.
The
Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello, this is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Congratulations. Oh, one good day.
Good day? But I haven't entered any competition.
Owadechi, since you use your phone every day, we have randomly selected you as one of our loyal customers, and you have won a brand new pickup.
Hey, so how do I get this pickup?
The pickup is in Namave. All we have to do is quickly bring it to you. You know, we are delivering many of them. So, just send us 100k for fuel via mobile money and we'll bring it to you.
But Chief, I'm in no hurry to receive it. Namambe is just here. Keep it at your warehouse, give me directions and I will get time to pick it up.
Vow nawe. If you don't have money, just say.
Tonfera. Never send money to strangers. Winners of competitions are contacted through official channels and are never asked to pay for anything. Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tonfera. Refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by UCC, MTN, Airtel, Bank of Uganda, and NPSP Association.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenure of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
Fellow citizens, thank you for diligently and consistently honoring your tax obligations. It is through your collective contribution that the government is able to provide social services. In spite of the simultaneous global crises that have hit our livelihoods and businesses, you have proven that as a people, we can rise up and still mobilize domestic revenues enough to sustain us as a country. As we close in to the end of this financial year, I urge you not to lose the momentum and resilience that you have demonstrated all year through. Please file your returns and remit your taxes in time to avoid unnecessary inconveniences that come with non-compliance. As Uganda Revenue Authority, we are committed to facilitate you in honoring your obligations through a reliable and delightful service. I invite you to use our various e-platforms to remit your tax contributions with ease and on time. We have extended all our working hours at all our border stations, the bonded warehouses, and service centers. Should you need further assistance, please contact us via our toll-free lines and our WhatsApp platforms. Tax is the surest way of liberating our country from the bondage of economic dependence. Let us all play our part, pay our dues, and develop our country. For God and my country.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Football packages, great entertainment, sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies. There is something for everybody. Everybody, GoTV. This is where the stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Ugandan shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight with me, Wadulo Mark Arnold, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue and online under the name tag UBC TV Uganda on Facebook. To take you to more news, Residents of Butabika Hospital Village in Nakawa Division want government agencies that worked with opportunists and demolished their shelters to be brought to book. They accuse environmental bodies of not issuing any warnings and carrying out sensitization meetings before the action. This is what transpired.
Early this week, the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, with other sister agencies, demolished a village in an exercise allegedly aimed at reclaiming a wetland.
But for them, they think it is free land. They come and just occupy. So there is no compensation as far as when we evict you from this wetland.
UBC visited Hospital Village Butabika in Nakawa Division, where we found residents sleeping in unshit shelters with their families.
We had women and kids around. We had to at least request neighborhoods to accommodate them. But with the men, we gather around here starting from 7 p.m. up to 7 a.m.
These are protesting the manner in which the demolition operation was conducted.
Government can't use thugs to break people. The government can't hire thugs. A government can't cut tree. Look at the sugar cane, look at banana plantation and everything.
The village leadership demands compensation to residents.
We need compensation our people. Then my family is now suffering. I don't have where to put them. We are now suffering like that, sleeping outside, nowhere to sleep.
Then the other phase will handle Banda and the other area around up to the lower minister's village. Working with the other stakeholders, we are telling these people that if you are still within our boundaries, which we have, which are clear, they should start planning to leave.
Residents are seeking attention from the State House Anti-Corruption Unit for redress.
We need the leaders of this, of our area, the leader of our area, to take these people every office to know each and everything what happened here.
At least 10,000 residents are expected to be affected by this operation of wetland clearing by the Ministry of Water and Environment in Hospital Village, Butabika, Nakawa Division. Abdul Nasir Lubwama and Insamba Juma, UBC News.
Quite sensitive right there. In another development, a section of Kabale University administrators and Kiswahili stakeholders in the East African Community member states have blamed the slow adoption of Swahili language on the lack of language laboratories and libraries, political will, coupled with poor attitude and perception. The Vice-Chancellor of Kabale University, Professor Joy Kwesiga, revealed that due to lack of language laboratories and Swahili books, they still face difficulty in convincing learners that Swahili is a vital language for Uganda's setup.
East African Community Swahili academicians have converged at Kabale University to look for solutions and promotion of Swahili language in all member states. The Vice-Chancellor of Kabale University, Professor Joy Kwesiga, said that Ugandans will not fully benefit from the advantages of East African integration in terms of business if they do not master the Swahili language.
Salona to Kabale University, the marketing tool, and also to help us expand and increase our Swahili teaching facilities and do projects here and there. So we are very happy because we thank the people the staff who were able to help to bring this.
Dr. Carolina Simwe, a representative from the East African Kiswahili Commission, an institution that started with the aim of developing and promoting Kiswahili among all the East African Community partner states, said that despite the public having negative attitude on the language, they do not conduct sensitization and awareness to make the public understand the importance of the language.
Of course, we are at different levels. There are people who have been using Kiswahili as their first language or their mother tongue, and there are those who are starting its use and development. But we are all moving together because we help one another, or other partner states assist one another through exchange of staff, exchange of other professionals.
The chairperson, Chama cha Kiswahili cha Afrika Mashariki, Dr. Ida Motenga, argues that with the much desired East African Community Regional Integration Agenda to promote trade, peace and communication, learning Kiswahili will have strategic benefits to Ugandans at the global stage.
Chakama is recognized by East African Kiswahili Protocol. It is among the associations that the East African Kiswahili Commission recognizes. They bring together all the stakeholders all over the East Africa to present the papers, to do research, to do collaboration.
Chama cha Kiswahili cha Afrika Mashariki is an association that brings together all Kiswahili lecturers in higher institutions of learning in East Africa.
In other news, a troop of chimpanzees in Muhoro and Pachwa sub-counties, Kagadi district, have invaded several villages and injured 2 children. Leaders of Muhoro and Pachwa sub-counties have asked Uganda Wildlife Authority to save them from the chimps by relocating the primates to another game reserve.
Two children have been rushed to Kagadi Hospital in critical condition following an invasion by the chimpanzees. The incident occurred in Nyamiti Parish, Muhoro Town Council in Kagadi District, after a troop of about 10 chimps invaded a village of Karuswiga, Kahioro, Chamajaka, and Nyamiti.
As we talk now, one child is already admitted to Kagadi Hospital.
Tried highly to see that I asked for an ambulance. It comes then and they pick the children and they brought him to the hospital here, Kagadi.
The father of the victims, Omhereza Businje, has asked relevant authorities including area MPs, LC5 and RDCs to help them to manage these chimpanzees. The residents from the 4 affected villages have petitioned Uganda Wildlife Authority to help in relocating the chimps to their local habitats.
The Wildlife Authority to come in and intervene, maybe shift these chimpanzees to game parks where they are supposed to be, because they have been affecting these areas and it has been there for some years.
Village, we have a problem of chimpanzees and gorillas which have destroyed our crops, which have killed our children. Many children have been injured.
Tom Tibaleke, a community mobilizer in Kagadi Town Council, says residents have established a community response initiative to respond to emergencies of chimp attacks in the area, although they are still faced with a challenge of lack of funding.
We don't have a clear solution to these attacks, except we started a community circle to handle whoever has been attacked by chimpanzee, but the circle is not funded. Robert Ochea, the Uganda Wildlife Authority supervisor, says the attacks by the chimps have been caused by massive encroachment on forests that have been a natural habitat of these animals.
According to me, I know it is a bit difficult either for war or for the government to translocate all the chimpanzee in this region to another place. It is very expensive.
He, however, noted that translocating the chimps to their natural habitats is very expensive and also needs consultation from higher authorities.
Getting animals, one like a chimps, it may take even like 1 week before even you get one chimps. Because while they are aware that you are looking for them, they also try to hide.
When the communities around tend to hunt the chimpanzee within this area, and once they hunt, then they also alternate by fighting back and causing more harm to the community.
The villages affected by the invasion of chimps include Karuswiga East, Western Central Chamajaka, Igurika, Bugamu, and Nyanzija in Karuswiga Ward, Muhoro Town Council and Rensozi, Bugambaihe, Chairman Kayanja in Mairire Sub-County, all in Kagadi District. At least 10 children have been killed by chimps in the last 5 years, with over 50 injured and 5 homesteads displaced as a result of continuous chimp attacks in Kagadi District.
Bannayuganda, ku Lwokubiri nga 14 Ogw'omukaaga 2022, Minisita avunaanyizibwa ku by'ensimbi n'okuteekerateekera eggwanga waakwanja embalirira y'ebyensimbi y'omwaka 2022-2023 eri eggwanga. Biki ebyo ebyenkizo era ebiruubirirwa ebirina okussibwako essira mu mbalirira y'omwaka guno? Okumanya ebikwata ku mbalirira ya guno omwaka egenda okusomebwa nga 14 Ogw'omukaaga 2022 okutandika ku ssaawa 8 ez'emisana, tega era owulirize emikutu gy'amawulire gyonna mu ggwanga. Embalirira yaffe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe. Obubaka buno bukutuusibwako Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, Ministry y'ebyensimbi n'okuteekerateekera eggwanga wamu ne banywanyi baabwe.
Jennifer, Jukila, Wewagamba, I don't have waka. You passed the ice through me about my waka. Now come and see for yourself, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo. Jambola we waka, look at you waka, see my waka.
Simply deposit 20k or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Yes, thank you for watching Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Television, UBC TV, and that's all we had time for now. Thank you very much. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold, and have yourselves a lovely night.
On UBC, the program that helps you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills,